Maybe you have lived this story. You are scrolling through social media and you see a post that makes you think, wow, I wish I had their life, body, dog, partner, hair, eyes, smile, business, and it makes you feel a little unhappy. And then you recognize that you are catching yourself, comparing yourself to this person, and you also don't feel good about that, and then you continue on scrolling. You probably know that there are things that trigger you into comparison and make you feel shitty, but it keeps happening, and it may even happen with people you actually love and really care about, so it's not just as easy as unfollowing them. In this video, I'm going to teach you 4 different ways comparison shows up, and also 4 strategies to overcome it. Because it's holding you back, babe. The thing is that the emotions that come with comparison, like jealousy, envy, and guilt, are low vibration. There's literally an emotional vibration scale, and they are down here. Emotions like low self-esteem, unworthiness, and shame are literally close to death. And the reason this whole scale makes sense is because emotions are energy in motion, and energy in motion is vibration, which means when we feel an emotion, we are vibrating at a certain frequency, which may be low or high, or obviously somewhere in between. So when we say someone is a good vibe, it's probably because they are spending a lot of their time in more high vibration emotions. We don't want to be giving off low vibes. So the first thing with comparison is really just becoming aware of when those emotions are coming up for you in your mind, which, like I said, maybe on social media, maybe in conversations with people you care about. And when that happens, you have to consciously think about retracting those thoughts and saying to yourself, no. There's a little bit more to it, which I'm going to get into in the strategies, but first, let's talk about what comparison actually looks like and how it shows up. Number 1, comparison looks like basing our worth off of someone else's experience. It is crazy how you can throw an Instagram filter on something and it looks way more amazing. A random street view, a random cup of coffee just looks 10 times better because of the aesthetically pleasing Instagram filters. Chances are, if you use one of those same filters in your whatever feels mundane, your view out your window or something in your home, it's actually gonna look 10 times better as well. That's why we use the filters in the first place. Of course, often what the person is experiencing is real. Maybe they're in Paris and you are not. But if we're comparing our current reality to someone else's through a negative lens, then we are telling ourselves we are worth less because we do not have or we are not where they are. And if we're saying we are worth less, we're saying we're worthless. Mayday, this is a low vibe emotion. Another kind of sneakier way that comparison shows up is us staying in one place out of fear. We might think that we can't have or do or create or be like they are because we are not blank enough, pretty enough, tall enough, smart enough, funny enough, friendly enough, athletic enough, and when we tell ourselves these stories, we just hold ourselves back from our dreams and we keep playing small. A third way comparison shows up is as a massive waste of time. If you spend even 10 minutes a day comparing yourself to others on social media, that's 60 hours a year. Just kidding, I didn't calculate that in my head. I obviously mathed it out before this. But realistically, it's actually not that hard to spend an hour on Instagram or TikTok every single day, and if 10 minutes out of that hour, just 10, are spent comparing yourself, that means over 3,000 minutes a year thinking negative thoughts about yourself. Could you imagine what you could do with 60 hours committed to loving yourself, or anything for that matter? With 60 hours, you could become really good at a lot of things, like playing guitar, or flying a kite, or baking sourdough bread, or building a business. The last way comparison may be showing up is through judgment. So comparison isn't always about jealousy and wanting what they have and envy. Sometimes it comes in form of thinking negative thoughts about the other person. We compare ourselves to them and then put ourselves on a pedestal, or we argue in our minds why what we are doing is better or more right. As you guessed it, this is a low vibe. We don't need to judge. Everyone is living in their own universe, including me, including you, and what they actually do doesn't really affect us at all. You may have compared yourself to me or judged me in the few minutes that you've been watching this video. Maybe you thought the skin on my neck looks weird because I have a rash. Maybe you thought my lip piercing was super cool. Maybe you thought you liked my shirt and you wish you had one, or judging it and thinking it was from last season. So right now you might be thinking, oh boy, I spend a lot of time in this comparison zone and I don't even mean to. These comparison and judgment thoughts are obviously a big part of a lot of our realities, and it's okay. I'm totally guilty of this at times too, but let's break down some ways to overcome it. So moving into your 4 strategies for addressing and overcoming comparison. Strategy number 1 is staying in your own lane. So this basically means metaphorically putting on blinders and just heading in the direction that you want to go, whatever that is, whether that means deciding what you're going to wear in the morning, deciding what you're going to order at a restaurant when you're with friends or you're with family, or deciding how you're going to build your business. Staying in your own lane means you are not even looking at other people and their decisions, and you are truly making decisions from your own heart, your gut, your intuition. This is something that I've always done in my business quite naturally, and there are definitely pros and cons when it comes to a business point of view, because when I stay in my own lane, it means that I'm not really doing market research. So I don't really know who my competitors are, I don't know what their programs are, I don't know what they cost. On one hand, this might mean that something that I create has a hole in it that someone else is filling better, but on the other hand, it allows me to be super creative in my expression, and I just don't worry about what other people are doing. So when it comes to making decisions, of course you can lean on other people for advice and inspiration, but at the end of the day, you want to stay in your own lane and just do what's right for you. Second strategy for overcoming comparison is something I like to call identifying the mirror. So when we are looking at someone and judging them, we have to imagine that they are a mirror and they're reflecting something in us that we are probably judging in ourselves. I'm going to give you some examples of questions you can ask yourself, and then we're going to go through a specific example in my life. So you can ask, what am I judging in them? Why do I think that's true? Where did I learn that is an unacceptable behavior? Do I still think that's true? Where am I judging myself for that behavior? What am I afraid of if I exhibit that behavior? And is their behavior impacting my life? So for example, I have a beautiful friend who always seems to have other people doing stuff for her, and she's not paying them, she just asks and people just do whatever she wants, and it totally annoyed me. But when I really looked at why this bothers me, because the reality is her brain is just going, okay, what's the path of least resistance to getting what I want? Oh, maybe asking that person to do it for me. And you know, when you're helping someone, you feel good about helping them. So it's not like she's putting people out of their way necessarily or anything like that. She's just outsourcing things that she needs to make it easier for her. And also because she vibrates in this energy, people offer to do stuff for her. But it was annoying me, and I was judging her as helpless and needy. When I looked at my own beliefs, I realized that I had this really deep core inner belief that needing help or support from others is weak. And the reason I believe this is because I was taught to be super independent and self-sufficient. If I ask myself, do I think it's true that needing support from others is weak? The answer is absolutely not, and I would love for anyone in my life to ask me for help and support when they need it. And as I looked more into this, I realized that I have been subconsciously pushing people away by being so hyper independent. Don't get me wrong, on the other hand, these traits do serve me in different ways, by making me very self-motivated and someone who figures out problems, but I was definitely overcorrecting to one side. Digging even deeper and asking myself that question, what am I afraid of if I exhibit that behavior? I realized that I was afraid that I would be unlovable or I would be rejected if I needed something from others, specifically a partner. Wow, right? So now after doing a little bit of that self-discovery, I can see that it has nothing to do with her and it had everything to do with me and my own fear. This is what inner work looks like, and over the past years I have been learning and studying about it so much, applying it not only to my life, but teaching it to other people and working with my clients through exercises like this as well. It's so powerful. It's a lot of what you're gonna see on this channel, so make sure to hit subscribe if this self-discovery stuff is something that interests you. Okay, strategy number 3 for overcoming comparison is identifying the fear that may be coming up. Again, I'm gonna give you a couple questions to ask yourself. What do they have that I want? Why don't I have it now? Do I still want it? Because after answering that, you might realize you actually don't want it at all. If I do want it, how can I create something like it? And how am I playing small? So this goes back to the second example I gave where I was saying how comparison sometimes shows up as fear and playing small. If we can ask ourselves those questions, then we can kind of get to the bottom of why am I comparing myself to this person? Why do I want what they have? And why don't I have it already? And your fourth strategy for overcoming comparison is remembering that social media is a highlight reel. And I know you see the Instagram post that says that and you double tap it and you hear someone talking on their Instagram story and reminding you Instagram is a highlight reel and I'm not using a filter today, but it's still really, really hard to remember. But we have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, what people post on social media more often than not is their best experiences positioned in the most aesthetically pleasing way. And you may be attracted to someone's personality and they feel very high vibe, which is probably true. They probably are spending a lot of time in those high vibration emotions, which is amazing. And it's something to strive for, but not compare yourself to or judge yourself for not feeling the way that they appear through a camera on social media. And if that still feels too hard and social media isn't an inspiring, exciting place for you, then I would recommend exercising the unfollow button or the mute button in sensitive situations where you feel like you don't want to unfollow someone. So we covered 4 different ways comparison shows up, what it looks like, 4 strategies to overcome it, and now I'm going to give you 4 bonus affirmations to help you pair with those strategies so that you can really work through and disintegrate any comparison thoughts that are keeping you low vibe. Affirmations work best when you say them out loud, when you repeat them often, and specifically when you notice yourself comparing. This is a good thought to replace that thought with so that you can feel a little bit better and carry on with your day. Number 1, it is safe to express myself in the way that I want to. Feel how that feels. It is safe to express myself in the way that I want to. Number 2, I let go of comparison. So anytime you notice yourself in comparison, just say, I let go of comparison. Carry on. 3, I will not compare myself to a stranger on the internet. And 4, there is always room for me. So out of those 4 affirmations, let me know which is your favorite in the comments, which you're gonna use. I hope this video has made you feel empowered around the comparison game. Know that everyone spends time feeling comparison, feeling jealousy. It's totally normal, but we don't need to let our mind run those stories over and over and over. Taking control of our mind and our ego is a huge part of personal growth. Like I said, if you want to learn more about that stuff, hit the subscribe button, then I'll probably show up on your homepage, and then you can decide whether the next video is for you. I'm sending you so much love. You are worthy. You are amazing. Chat soon. Bye.
Cleaning the carrot and the hummus and the walnut out of my teeth, that's nice. That was long. I'm sweating.